Our very important guests from not outer space, it's like 400 kilometers up there, but still it's up there. Welcome to DTU. Welcome to everybody who's here just because they're friends of DTU or they're lovers of space. My name is Martin Vigild, and I'm here representing our president, Anders Bjarklev, in order to be part of this actually fantastic event that we will have revealed here in a minute. An iconic, maybe the name that is associated and will be associated with space travel forever. But please let me start by yesterday. I was walking my dog. And I go down into the park, and my dog is called Jackie. But we met another dog, and the name of that dog was Laika. And that's for a reason. That's for a reason in Denmark. There are two names which are associated with space, one much more than the other, but one of them is Laika, and it's still remembered, and people still call their dogs after the first Laika.
Why not your dog is Laika?
Well, it's not big enough. Or brave enough. Laika actually survived being sent up there, and that was the first time that the Russian scientists and technicians and engineers proved that it's actually possible to go out there, because how would you know?
Laika didn't survive.
And she did survive the trip into space and one or two orbits. Of course, there was no return vessel. And that's what we do with animals. We test it out, and then we repeat it. And that was in '57. Now in '61, Yuri Gagarin was the first man in space. And that was an endeavor beyond description, because, and returning back to Earth showed us and paved the way of what is now becoming an immense opportunity and also an immense expedition of creating new knowledge. And it's so wonderful that we are here today, and we can also celebrate European, Russian, and especially Danish-Russian space collaboration, because our own son of the Kingdom of Denmark, who was in space recently last year, Andreas. And that was by the help, of course, the Russian collaboration. And Andreas knows Russian fluently. I don't know. But still, we celebrated Andreas a lot after he returned from space alive. And we take it as one of the proofs that he learned Russian fluently, because if he hadn't, he wouldn't have survived, because everything is in Russian, right? Even your name tag is in Russian. And of course, that's what we do when we collaborate. That's a strong thing about science and engineering. It's international, it's without borders, and we collaborate. I'd like to say science, engineering, and education. We also collaborate Denmark, and DTU is part of the international, well-known educational network of Conceive, Design, Implement, and Operate, CDIO. And I was in Moscow 2 years ago visiting Skoltech, talking about this principle of engineering education. And a lot of Russian universities are part of this community that DTU is also a part of. Now, after Andreas returned from space, he came here and met a lot of our students, and also previous students, which were rather old. And I remember that an old person came up to you and said he was so honored to also shake your hand because he had met Yuri Gagarin at some occasion and shook his hand. So now, I'm sure if you like to shake hands, well, it brings us a little closer, I think, to this whole event, and also to the closeness of our collaboration and the closeness in time. Imagine, yesterday I met Laika, and Andreas met a person who met Yuri Gagarin. I mean, that's something to think about. And all the time, what we're doing, we're pushing borders, we're generating more knowledge, we are working together, and also for me, as part of the governance of the Technical University of Denmark, it's also about peace. Because if all the politicians and everybody else can't figure it out, we can. In science, in engineering, and in education. And that's also what makes this occasion so wonderful. And you can see, we are blessed. It's not even raining. So that proves that we are right. It proves that we're on the right track. And it proves that it's such an honor to actually be part of the space adventure, and in this way to consolidate our ties and collaborations with Russian scientists, technicians, engineers, and cosmonauts. So this gives me the occasion to introduce Sergei Volkov and Andreas Mogensen to step on here and choose the other's flag and say a few words. It's such an honor, and my hairs are shivering because it's also part of an adventure, and not every day we get that. So thank you very much for coming back home alive, both of you, and for being here today. And Your Excellency, thank you very much for facilitating this and for the fantastic gift that you are now offering for DTU and DTU Space. Ladies and gentlemen, students, colleagues, professors, thank you very much.
You say that you only can experience something once for the first time. And so the first time is always a very special time. And so I want to, in particular, thank Sergei and his family for coming to Denmark and joining us on this occasion of the one-year anniversary of our flight. It was an incredible experience. Something that, for the two of us, started more than a year ago, started something closer to 3 years ago when we started training together, most of all in Star City in Russia. We had a chance to not only train in all the Soyuz simulations together, but we also had a chance to spend a couple of very, very cold nights in January in a forest close to Star City practicing winter survival techniques. We also had a chance to spend a couple of days training water survival techniques together. And so this creates a special bond, more than just a professional bond, and something that binds us together and really makes the spaceflight very memorable. It's almost impossible to describe in words just how special a spaceflight is. You've had a chance to try it 3 times. I can only hope that I also get to try it that many times. But there is something very special about being up there. Martin Vigil mentioned international collaboration, and it truly is an international endeavor, space exploration. One of the first things that you notice when you're on board the space station looking down at our beautiful planet is that you don't see borders. And I think that's a very, very symbolic of what we're doing up there. We're going up there as representatives of Earth, of humankind, working alongside each other with the same goals and the same aims of advancing humanity, of helping us to take the first steps on our further journey into space. And that journey, even though it started many 50, 60 years ago with the first cosmonauts and the first astronauts back in the 60s, it's a journey that we're just beginning and hopefully will last many, many years to come. As we journey further into space, either back to the moon and later hopefully onwards to Mars. And one of the most important lessons from the International Space Station is that this journey into space will be an international collaboration. And I look forward very much to being a part of that, working not just with my Russian colleagues, but also with our American, Japanese, Canadian, and who knows who else in the future. But I want to thank again Sergei and his family for joining us on this special one-year anniversary, and also thank the Russian embassy for making this possible and for you being our hosts today. It's as I said, a very special occasion. You can only do something for the first time once, and I'll always remember the 2nd of September 2015 as a very, very special day. So thank you, Sergei, for being here.
good day everyone, and thank you, Andreas, that you're here with me. And I'm personally first time in Denmark, and thanks to Russian embassy that invite me to Danish Republic and support the kingdom. Danish kingdom. I wrote yesterday about Denmark a lot, of course, because it was long ride from Moscow to Copenhagen. I forget how it. But today we gathered here due to a small event. We're going to open a new bust of Yuri Gagarin, our first cosmonaut of the globe. And 55 years ago, he was launched by the rocket to the space, and he flew one orbit. And that was a memorable event for the whole world. Since 55 years, nobody think about that right now about the Earth. 6 cosmonauts, 3 Russian cosmonauts, American astronauts, and Japanese astronaut. They flew together. We built a new station. The station is really huge. It's like 2 huge airplanes, like Boeing 747, flying about the globe. And 16 countries were managed to build this beautiful station. And 1 year ago, Andreas and I, we were launched from the Kazakhstan. And after 2 days of ride in a tiny capsule in the middle of nowhere, because you're really in space and you see the Earth 400 kilometers, and we discussed this, 400 kilometers from here, just Berlin, but it's 400 kilometers up. And you can see maybe not the whole globe. 400 kilometers is really not far from the Earth. Sometimes you even may doubt if it really has a shape, or maybe it's flat. But still 400 kilometers, and we traveled, it was 3 of us. It was Kazakhstan representative, Aidina Imbetov, it was Andreas and me. And somewhere we even couldn't see the station for 2 days. And then when it appears in front of us, and Andreas helped me a lot to do those last maneuvers for the docking. And then when we opened the hatches and entered the station, 3 cosmonauts who waited for us were really happy. And we started our expedition for 9 of us, actually, for 7 days. And Andreas had a very tough program, and I tried to help him as much as I could. And for him, of course, it was first unique experience when you have to work in the weightlessness. When everything, all subjects try to escape from you. And you flying always. And you need to sleep somewhere in the wall or in the floor. And it's also, we don't used to sleep like this. And after 7 days, we said goodbye to each other because he needed to go home. His program was over. And I hope that sooner he will be managed to do his second flight. I'm sure that if you dream about it, the dreams come true. Thank you for the invitation. I'm really glad to see you and Cecil here in Denmark. Probably we need to start what we did here for this perfect event in a few minutes. Thank you very much. I'm really glad to see you all.
Who's next? Who's next?
You know, we talk about shaking hands, but there's much more to tell about Yuri Gagarin. So now I'd like to invite Artem Markayan, the director of the Russian Center for Science and Culture, to come to the podium and enlighten us. Please.
Добрый день, дорогие друзья, уважаемые коллеги.
Goddag, kære venner og kære kolleger.
Приветствуем администрацию университета, Датского Технического Университета.
Vi vil også hilse på ledelsen for DTU
Глубоко уважаемый Михаил Валентинович, посол Российской Федерации в Королевстве Дании.
og Michael Vanin, der er ambassadør for Rusland i Danmark.
Я немного расскажу о человеке, которому посвящена сегодняшняя церемония.
Jeg vil fortælle lidt om den mand, som dagens arrangement drejer sig om.
Юрий Алексеевич Гагарин родился 9 марта 1934 года.
Den 9. marts 1934 blev Yuri Gagarin født.
Он родился в Смоленской области под городом Гжатск.
Han blev født i Smolensk oblast eller region i nærheden af en by, der hed Zjobsk.
Непростые были времена, и свою школьную первоклассную эпоху в сентябре он начал в 1941 году, когда Советский Союз вступил в войну с фашистской Германией.
Det var en svær tid, og Gagarin begyndte sin skolegang den 1. september 1941, på det tidspunkt, hvor Sovjetunionen lige var kommet i krig med Tyskland.
Проучившись всего 1,5 месяца, когда вошли в его родную деревню немецкие войска, до 1943 года он был вынужден прекратить свое обучение в школе.
Han havde kun gået i skole i 1,5 måned, så kom de tyske tropper til den by, hvor han boede, og han var nødt til at afbryde sin skolegang frem til 1943.
Только после обучения с 1943 года он продолжил школу, которую закончил шестилетку, как тогда было, в 1949 году.
Og det var først i 1943, at han kunne genoptage sin skolegang. Dengang gik man 6 år i skole i Sovjetunionen, og han blev færdig med sin skolegang i 1949.
Юрий Алексеевич был простого происхождения из простой семьи.
Yuri Gagarin kom fra en meget jævn familie, de levede under meget jævne forhold.
Его папа был плотником, а мама работала на молокоперерабатывающем заводе.
Hans far var tømrer, og hans mor arbejdede på et mejeri.
Он уехал в Москву поступать по протекции отца в ремесленное училище.
Gagarin tog så efter skolegang til Moskva, hans far havde sørget for, at han kunne komme i tømmerlærer.
Но прием уже был закончен.
Men han kom for sent til at blive optaget på den her, tekniske skole, hvor han skulle blive tømrer.
И единственное место, где оставался еще прием, было Люберецкое индустриальное училище, куда он с успехом поступил.
Og det eneste sted, der stadigvæk var åbent for optagelse, det var Люберецкий tekniske skole, hvor han så kom ind.
Но его начало летной карьеры, его будущее, связанное с небом,
Men hans fremtid, der havde at gøre med himmelrummet,
датировано 1951 году,
den begynder i 1951.
когда он поступил в Саратовский индустриальный техникум.
Det var det år, han blev optaget på Saratovs industriteknikum.
Спустя всего 3 года, в 1954 году, он пошел и записался в Саратовский аэроклуб.
Og allerede efter 3 år, i 1954, så indskrev han sig i Saratovs flyveklub.
А в 1955 году впервые на самолете Як-18 совершил самостоятельный полет. 1950.
I 55 foretog han så sin første selvstændige flyvning. Tak.
Вот с этого и началась карьера великого космонавта, о которой он еще сам тогда в эти годы даже не мог подумать.
Så det var den måde, Gagarins karriere som kosmonaut startede på. En karriere, han slet ikke kunne forestille sig på det tidspunkt.
В 1955 он был призван в армию и как раз распределен в военное авиационное училище.
I 1955 blev han indkaldt til militæret og kom netop til sådan en militær flyveskole.
А в 1959 году, в соответствии с решением советского правительства, вошел в группу 20 космонавтов, которых готовило государство для полета в космос.
Og i 1959 blev han inkluderet i den gruppe på 20 personer, der af den sovjetiske ledelse var blevet udpeget til at kunne blive de første kosmonauter.
Вначале их осталось 6,
Først var der 6,
а потом трое.
altså de blev sorteret fra efterhånden af de 20 der. På et tidspunkt var der 6, og til sidst var der så kun 3 tilbage.
Это был Юрий Гагарин,
Det var Gagarin,
Герман Титов,
German Titov
Григорий Нелюбов.
og Grigorij Nilyubov.
Решением советского государства, Государственной комиссии, непосредственно главного конструктора Королева,
Og ved en beslutning, der blev truffet af den sovjetiske ledelse og personligt af Korolev, der var leder af det sovjetiske rumprogram,
пилотом первым был выбран Юрий Алексеевич Гагарин,
så var det Gagarin, der blev valgt til at skulle være den første
а его дублером
rumpilot,
Герман Титов.
og hans backup eller reserve, det var så German Titov.
12 апреля 1961 состоялся этот исторический для всей Земли полет.
Og den første rumflyvning, der virkelig havde historisk betydning for alle mennesker på jorden, den fandt sted den 12. april 1961.
Который сделал из простого смоленского мальчишки звезду, известную во всем мире.
Og derved blev denne her helt almindelige og jævne dreng fra Smolensk-området til en verdensstjerne.
Юрий Гагарин был приглашен более чем в 30 стран мира руководителями королевских семей, а также руководителями правительств.
Gagarin blev inviteret til mere end 30 forskellige lande af medlemmer af landenes kongehuse eller af landenes regeringer.
Когда он проезжал по улицам центральных городов, толпа рукоплескала ему.
Og når han kørte i kortege gennem hovedstedernes hovedstrøg, og sådan så blev der kastet konfetti ud, og folk stod i vinduer på fortov og applauderede.
К сожалению, он очень рано ушел, прожив всего 34 года на этой земле.
Desværre blev Gagarins liv ikke langt. Han afgik ved døden som 34-årig.
Но мы всегда в нашей памяти запомним его честную, открытую улыбку,
Men vi husker altid hans ærlige og åbne smil
и доброе, открытое лицо.
og hans gode åbne ansigt.
Спасибо.
Tak.
Dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, very happy to see all of you here. Thank you for coming on this very, very unique occasion. It's a really, really long road to this event. We have started our discussions nearly a year ago, how to do this everything in order to celebrate somehow 55th anniversary of the first flight of Yuri Gagarin, of the first man in the space. And now we are here at the end of this very long trip. First of all, I would like also to remind you that 34 years ago, Yuri Gagarin and his wife, they came here to the Kingdom of Denmark, and as it was already mentioned, they were greeted by crowds of very curious Danes, and it was really, really big event for Denmark. They were accepted by the King of Denmark, by Prime Minister, and many, many other very eminent persons here in Denmark. We will hear now in a few minutes also very special news reports of, at that time, Soviet news agency TASS, how it was announced, how it was declared to the whole world that the first space flight has happened. And we will hear also the voice of Yuri Gagarin. He has prepared this record just a few hours before the trip. He didn't know if he will be back. And of course, he knew everything, how everything is complicated, risky, etc., etc. 55 years ago, it was very risky. 1 year ago, when our friends, these two heroes did the same job from the same launch station. It was exactly the same risk. We have to recognize that they are also heroes like it was 50 years ago. I know that Andreas was decorated by the highest order of Denmark here in Denmark. Sergei, he is also the hero of Russia, and you can see this decoration on his jacket. I would like to say also thank you very much for cooperation to all of you, to the Danish Technical University, Danish Space Institute, to sponsors, Russian people who are living and working here. They helped a lot to us in order to have the opportunity to do what we are going to do now. Dear friends, I will stop my speech and I will give the floor to the famous Russian TV journalist, Mr. Levitan. It is not very well known here in Denmark, but very well known in Soviet Union. Yuri Levitan has the floor.
Говорит Москва. Говорит Москва. Работают все радиостанции Советского Союза. Московское время 10 часов 2 минуты. Передаем сообщение ТАСС о первом в мире полете человека в космическое пространство. 12 апреля 1961 года в Советском Союзе выведен на орбиту вокруг Земли первый в мире космический корабль-спутник «Восток» с человеком на борту. Пилотом-космонавтом космического корабля «Спутника Восток» является гражданин Союза Советских Социалистических Республик, летчик-майор Гагарин Юрий Алексеевич.
12 апреля 1961 года. Предстартовая речь Юрия Алексеевича Гагарина.
Дорогие друзья, близкие и незнакомые, соотечественники, люди всех стран и континентов, через несколько минут могучий космический корабль унесет меня в далекие просторы Вселенной. Что можно сказать вам в эти последние минуты перед стартом? Вся моя жизнь кажется мне сейчас одним прекрасным мгновением. Все, что прожито, что сделано прежде, было прожито и сделано ради этой минуты. Сами понимаете, трудно разобраться в чувствах сейчас, когда очень близко подошел час испытания, к которому мы готовились долго и страстно. Вряд ли стоит говорить о тех чувствах, которые я испытал, когда мне предложили совершить этот первый в истории полет. Радость? Нет, это была не только радость. Гордость? Нет, это была не только гордость. Я испытал большое счастье быть первым в космосе, вступить один на один в небывалый поединок с природой. Можно ли мечтать о большем?
And to reveal this, you have to have that green space. Only anybody who's in this space, please show yourselves because put your honor and reveal this emblem of research, endeavor, and collaboration. And maybe do it again.
Yeah, please do it again. Yes, do it again.
Don't tell anybody. This never happened. Just everybody's ready?
I will move my 3, 2, 1.
Hang on.
Yeah! Woo!
Like maybe museum, or you can put it to the wall. It's a small picture from my expedition. You can see this launch.
Can you raise it? Yes.
Out of space job, this is how our station looks like. It's a pleasure to you.
Now, I realize I'm receiving this in an official capacity, which means that I have to do it in the official manner, and I think it belongs to DTU Space.
Yes.
And we have exhibitions there about the Russian-Danish collaboration in space, and I think this could be a masterpiece of that exhibition. So, thank you very much for the and your personal engagement in this exhibition.
Distinguished guests, it is a great honor for me to be here and to speak on behalf of the International Public Charity Fund, Dialogue of Cultures United World, and who has launched a couple of years ago the project of installing the busts and the sculptures devoted to Yuri Gagarin. And it is a great honor for me to speak on behalf of the president of the fund, Ruslan Bayramov, who was not unfortunately able to be present here. But, well, we have never expected that the project will have such a great scale, and this is all due to the great efforts made by those people who realized this project here in Denmark. And first of all, of course, this is the Embassy of Russia, the Honorable Ambassador, and the Russian Center, the Russian Society, the compatriots who are living here. And without these people, without their great passion towards this project, this would never happen. And we would like to express our deepest gratitude to all those people involved. And I was very
С Андреасом мы пролетели, а Мишка работает. Но он служил там, в Азии. Удачи здесь, спасибо. Нелегкая работа, чувство верующего. Ну, а без этого ты никуда не хочешь. Вот мы там как раз шли, пока подходили, как раз. И звонок, и все. Что так вот бывает, да. Без этого нельзя. И там тяжело тоже сложно. Но это бывает ситуация, когда подумаешь, что и легче становится. Совсем тяжело. У нас есть иконы, да, у нас есть иконы, причем у нас есть вообще подарок от Алексея Харова. Я когда-то сегодня дарил, на иконы там. Есть, есть и другие мы привозили, и с собой мы всегда ведем, то есть нам отец всегда с собой сколько дает, мы привозим. Помните, когда во время войны Казанская икона облетала? Да. Ну, вокруг земли.
Я прошу прощения, Сергей Александрович, вы уже что там, у нас мы выезжаем, все же там, все же пойдем.
Все, спасибо, я очень рад вас встретить, спасибо.
Можно вас попросить для студентов поставить фотографию?